Nathan Chow's little canary was acting up again. He handed me the divorce papers. "Just sign these, it's all for show," to pacify the little girl. I clutched the hem of my skirt tightly and nodded. Quietly, I signed my name. As I was leaving, I overheard his friend teasing him. "Your wife is so docile. I bet she'd even get married without making a sound if you asked her to." Nathan lit a cigarette with pleasure. "Wanna bet?" They wagered that a month later at the registry office, I would be crying my eyes out, but would still obediently exchange our marriage certificate for divorce papers. I held my phone silently. I merely replied to the message that had just come in. "Will you marry me?" "Yes." The reply came almost instantly. I put my phone away. Inside, their laughter continued. "Fine then, if your wife is really that obedient, I'll treat everyone to drinks next month." 3 months, Nathan said. "Deal, deal," amid the laughter. I hurriedly walked out. Only when I left the office building and the blinding sunlight hit my eyes did tears finally stream down my face. Nathan had fallen for a college girl who hadn't even graduated yet. He bought her a house in Harbor City and filled it with luxury items. But she wouldn't let him kiss her or hold her. She lived in a 3,600-square-foot penthouse, wore custom designer clothes worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and tilted her head back saying, "I refuse to be the other woman." Nathan found this particularly amusing. By now, this was the 3rd time Nathan had put on a show for her. The first time, he displayed affection with me. Back then, I didn't know Sophia Song existed. I happily took many photos embracing him. When I saw he posted a full grid of photos, I was even more excited and expectant. But that social media post never appeared in my feed, no matter how many times I refreshed. Later, I learned he had set it to visible to Sophia Song only. The second time, he fought with me, left me on the street, took a photo of me crying alone and sent it to Sophia. "See, I really can't help it. She can't live without me." The third time, he wanted to divorce me. My phone buzzed repeatedly, and I took it out. "Really? Are you serious?" "Grace." I wiped away my tears and smiled slightly. "Really?" In the afternoon, Nathan took me to the registry office as promised. On the way there, he was in an exceptionally good mood. He kept asking where I wanted to go for our 3rd anniversary trip. Nathan and I had grown up together, and this was our 3rd year of marriage. "How about Prague?" he suggested. "When you were 7, you always talked about feeding pigeons in Prague Square." He got out of the car, opened my door, and helped me unbuckle. "Oh, have you been crying?" He frowned and gently wiped the corner of my eye with his thumb. "I already told you, it's just for show. A little bird like her I'd like to see when she'll finally give in." As he spoke, something fell out of his pocket, a box of condoms. Nathan cleared his throat lightly and touched his nose. He offered no explanation and led me into the registry office. Everything went smoothly. I have selective mutism. When facing strangers, I often can't speak, but I can nod or shake my head. "Is this divorce voluntary?" "Yes," I nodded. "Do you confirm that the relationship has irretrievably broken down?" "Yes," I nodded again. "There's a 1-month cooling-off period. Come back in a month." Nathan took the receipt. Before even leaving the registry office, he took a photo and lowered his head to send a message. My phone immediately received a message too. As usual, it was from Sophia. Nathan had sent her the photo of the receipt with a message. "Satisfied now? Be ready and clean for me tonight." I tapped on her profile picture and blocked her. Just after doing that, I received a text about a flight confirmation. At the same time, I got a WeChat message. "Flight tickets booked, 1 month from now. See you in Paris." That night, I dreamed of Nathan again. As a child, Nathan had been so sweet. "Grace, your eyes are so beautiful. Can I look at them and talk to you every day?" "Grace, your piano playing is so lovely. Can I come listen to you play every day?" "Grace, I love you the most when we grow up. I want to marry you." I liked Nathan very much too. We sat together at school. We played together after school. Even when my parents had their car accident, I was in his family's car, playing rock, paper, scissors with him. But the cars were too close. I watched with my own eyes as that big truck crossed over. Boom, my father, my mother, my brother, and the little dog I had raised since childhood, all struggling in a sea of flames. For a long time, I couldn't make a sound with my throat. I needed Nathan by my side to fall asleep. Nathan was very patient back then. He accompanied me as I practiced speaking. He told me stories night after night. If anyone dared to mock me as mute, he would punch them. Marrying him seemed like the most natural thing. The day after getting our college diplomas, he leaned over my bed early in the morning. "Grace, let's go get our marriage certificate." That very day, we became husband and wife. In my dream, there were red roses everywhere, covering our new home. He knelt on the bed and kissed me tenderly. He said, "Grace, we'll be this happy forever." But when I woke up, the whole world was black. I reached for my phone. Sophia had texted me again. A photo. On a messy bed, there was a splash of crimson. I suddenly felt terribly sick. I rushed to the bathroom and dry heaved, but I could only bring up tears from the physical strain. Finally, I sat on the cold floor, hugging my knees. I must have accidentally hit something on my phone because suddenly in the silent night, a deep male voice sounded. "Grace Bridges?" My heart jumped. I picked up the phone. Timothy Foster was my fellow patient. After 3 years of intervention therapy at the hospital, my selective mutism had improved significantly. Only when I was emotionally down or nervous would I become unable to speak. During the first 2 years of my marriage to Nathan, my selective mutism had almost completely disappeared. At that time, when I was feeling good and had free time, I joined a patient support group. The person assigned to me for support was Timothy Foster. For 2 years, I actually thought he was a girl. He used a pink rabbit avatar, and his online name was Angel. At first, she barely responded to me, but as someone with the same condition, I knew that people who struggle with selective mutism often have severe psychological trauma. They might not be able to speak, but they need companionship. So I tirelessly shared my daily life with her, from text to voice messages, from photos to videos. Gradually, we became like old friends who had known each other for years. Until our first call, when I discovered she was actually male, I was so startled I almost relapsed on the spot. "I'm sorry," I said, gripping my phone. "I've disturbed your rest." "Not at all," Timothy said. "It's 9 o'clock at night here." His speech had become quite fluent. This was our second call. After discovering he was male, I deliberately kept my distance. That day was actually a coincidence. I hadn't contacted him for almost a month. Unfortunately, when Nathan handed me the divorce papers, he asked what I was doing. My mind went blank at the words "divorce papers," and I only replied with 2 words, "divorcing." After signing, I hid outside Nathan's office, trembling all over. "Timothy, I think I'm about to be homeless. I have no father, no mother, no brother, and no lovely little dog. Even Nathan was leaving me. What should I do?" I didn't expect him to suddenly say, "Then marry me instead, what do you say?" The teasing voices from inside grew louder. Come on, if Grace left Nathan, she wouldn't even be able to speak. How could she possibly really get divorced? Right, if she actually went through with the divorce, she'd probably cry enough to collapse the registry office. Is that so? Nathan sneered, throwing his lighter onto the coffee table. Even if she cries like a dog, she'll still be my dog. If I tell her to go east, she'll crawl east even if she has to crawl. I stood dazed, staring at the now stranger of a man through the door crack. Okay. Timothy made me a list. Things that had to be done within a month. Getting a visa and finding a lawyer were obvious necessities. But the list was also densely populated with restaurants I must try. Chinese food abroad is truly awful. Indeed it is. I happily accepted his suggestion. Following the list's order, I visited the restaurants one by one. Life alone didn't seem so unbearable after all. Each day, I ate well and packed my belongings. The day I moved out of our marital home, Nathan suddenly messaged me. "You haven't even called me once. Don't you miss me?" He had taken Sophia on a trip. Said he wanted to show the little girl more of the world. "You're being so naughty." He sent another message. Then he sent a photo. "This place is great. Should I bring you here for our 3rd anniversary?" I wanted to block him immediately, just like I'd blocked Sophia. But thinking about still needing to go to the registry office for the divorce certificate, I held back. For the next 2 weeks, I dealt with some of my small jewelry pieces and handbags. Went to the hospital for a checkup. Confirmed I wasn't pregnant. Finally, I organized all the assets Nathan had entrusted me with over the years. The night before going to the registry office, Nathan returned. He called me. "Grace, you moved out?" Used to my silence on the phone, he laughed to himself. "Grace, you're so adorable. I've told you this is just an act. How about this?" He was in a good mood. Let's take the act all the way. Tomorrow, come with me to the registry office and get the divorce certificate. I held the phone. Grace, don't worry, this is just... Okay, I said. Wow, cheers erupted from his end. I hung up. I sent him the time via text. The next day, I got up early, but Nathan arrived very late. Probably Sophia's deliberate doing, he had a not too deep, not too light bite mark at the corner of his mouth. He pretended not to notice it. I also pretended not to see it. The procedure was even smoother than last time. 5 minutes, start to finish. Grace, I have a surprise for you tomorrow. Nathan lightly kicked my leg. I put away the divorce certificate. Nathan, are you free tonight? I looked at him. There are some things I'd like to tell you. Nathan was stunned for a moment. Since our marriage began, I had always called him husband. The next moment, he curved his almond-shaped eyes and patted the red booklet in his hand. Sure, no matter what Nathan had been like this past year, I absolutely didn't want to deny the Nathan of the past. I was grateful for his companionship over the years and thankful for his care. So actually, I never intended to leave without saying goodbye. But it rained that night. Thunder roared, lightning split the sky. I feared nights like this. That car accident had happened during a downpour. I endured the trembling of my body, waiting for Nathan. I even worried that when Nathan appeared, I might, out of years of habit, break down the psychological barrier I'd built up over the past month and throw myself into his arms crying. But he didn't come, he called me. When the call connected, there was a cacophony of noise on the other end. What redemption, it's all fake. I was sick of her all those years. If my mother hadn't forced me, I wouldn't have bothered with her. Marriage. Want to know why we married so early? Because she wouldn't let me touch her. I was just curious. Isn't she supposed to lose her voice when emotional? What about in bed? Can she make any sounds? Ha ha ha. Boom like something, on such a rainy night, being torn to shreds once again. I wanted to find a place to hide. I didn't want anyone to see me in such a humiliating state. But where could I hide? Everywhere there was rain, everywhere there was lightning, everywhere there was mockery. That's when Timothy called. Grace Bridges? His voice was always so calm, making those noisy voices instantly fade away. Are you crying? I wanted to say no, but I couldn't make a sound. The tears, as if responding to his words, came flooding out. Wait there. He remained calm. I'm coming to get you. The Chow family's second son was single again. A group of wealthy young men organized a bachelor party, drinking themselves senseless at a karaoke bar. They all collapsed in a heap. Who knows how long had passed when someone groggily pulled out their phone. Wow, this is big news. This shout woke several sleeping people. That super prestigious head of foster group actually appeared in Harbor City. He even rushed back overnight on a private jet. Someone hazily waved his hand and said, "No way. Wasn't he recuperating abroad? No one's seen him for 10 years. It's true, it's trending online." The phone was passed around. What had been a quiet gathering became lively again. It's really him, and he's carrying a woman. They say he came back overnight to take her abroad. Wow, the PR team didn't even have time to handle it. How urgent was this? Let me see. Hey, this woman. She looks kind of familiar. Nathan, someone nudged Nathan. Look at who's in Timothy Foster's arms. Doesn't she look like your wife? Nathan had actually been awake for a while, but he disliked following Foster family drama. How could it possibly be my wife? He impatiently took the phone. My wife doesn't even dare leave Harbor City, let alone go abroad. Just one glance at the photo and he froze. It was pouring rain at the airport. Under a black umbrella, the man was tall with sharp features, protectively holding the woman close. But he knew Grace too well. Her figure, her hair color. Impossible. Nathan threw the phone down with a bang. How could Grace possibly know Timothy Foster? She was supposed to meet him at her apartment tonight, probably missing him badly after a month apart. Nathan pulled a cigarette from the pack, lit it, took out his own phone, found Grace's number about to dial, saw the time on his phone, 3 a.m. Forget it, she'd definitely be asleep by now. Still, no matter what time, Grace would always answer his calls. Nathan illuminated his phone again, dialed. Sorry, the number you have dialed is out of service. After that car accident, I had never left Harbor City. All forms of transportation frightened me. Going to a completely unfamiliar place would make me extremely anxious. I sat next to Timothy on his jet, nervously clasping my hands together. He was very tall. Even sitting in the back seat, he was still a head taller than me. He looked very serious. When the driver spoke to him, he responded with only a word or two. He seemed to be quite an important figure. Just now at Harbor City Airport, reporters surrounded us so tightly that not even water could get through, all calling him Mr. Foster. Was I being too impulsive? The name, Timothy Foster, was something I only heard after our first call. Paris was a city I never dared to even dream about before. The person next to me shifted slightly, pulled something from his pocket, and handed it to me. Want one? A candy. The package had a pink rabbit printed on it. My memory immediately flashed back to 2 years ago when I kept trying to chat with her. Sister, do you like candies? I recently tried some really delicious candy. They're chewy and soft with a fresh peach fragrance. If you want to try, give me your address and I'll send you a jar. She replied with an English address. That was the first time she responded to me. The awkwardness instantly disappeared. I had searched long and hard for these rabbit candies. I had looked for them based on his WeChat avatar, just wanting to cheer up this reclusive sister. Shall I unwrap it for you? He didn't seem so unapproachable. His voice was gentle, his eyes soft with warm light. Before I could nod, he'd already skillfully unwrapped the candy. I took the candy and put it in my mouth. The familiar taste spread across my tongue. My whole body relaxed. I actually stayed in a completely unfamiliar place. Timothy arranged for me to stay in his apartment, but he seemed very busy and rarely came home. During the first week after adjusting to jet lag, he had a conversation with me. Grace, what kind of work would you like to do? This question startled me. Nathan never let me work outside the home. When you get nervous, you can't even speak clearly. What kind of work could you do? Be good, just stay home growing flowers and plants. You won't lack for anything, but Timothy, holding his coffee, said, Your language learning hasn't started yet, but there are many Chinese people in Paris. I nervously fidgeted with my palms. Can I? Really? Timothy raised an eyebrow. How will you know if you don't try? Then I really did find a job, teaching Chinese to a Chinese-American child. It was just an ordinary tutoring job, but I hadn't been this happy for a long time. So happy that I wanted to share with my few good friends that I wasn't so useless after all. As soon as I logged into WeChat, messages poured in like snowflakes. Grace, where did you go? Nathan has been frantically looking for you. Nathan came looking for me. The night I left with Timothy, I wasn't in a good state. So he helped handle the aftermath. The assets that were supposed to be returned to Nathan were all sent to the Chow family mansion. Property that needed to be handled was entrusted to the lawyer I had found. Divorce follow-up matters were naturally also handed over to the lawyer. Other things, like phone cards, Timothy simply canceled. If Nathan had business, he should find the lawyer, not me. I was in the process of deleting those messages when a voice call came in. My hand was too quick, and I accidentally hit accept. Grace Bridges, what the hell are you playing at? Nathan's voice came through directly. Did someone steal your phone? If it was stolen, don't you know to buy a new one? If you bought a new one, don't you know to call me? Don't you know my phone number by heart? I held the phone quietly. And where the hell did you go? Why did you send that stuff to the family mansion? Do you still want to celebrate our 3rd anniversary or not? Nathan, I found myself easily calling his name. We're already divorced. Before he could say another word, I hung up. Grace, I've told you so many times, to act convincingly you need to go all the way. Don't you understand? What's your new number? Send it to me. Add me back on WeChat too. Don't you want to stay in touch? Messages popped up one after another. I tapped his profile picture and blocked him, then found all of Nathan's other friends in my contact list and blocked them all too. The new environment really did make it easier to let go. On the way back, I bought a small cake. After all, Timothy and I had been chatting for over 2 years. Once we got past the initial awkwardness, I became familiar with his habits. For instance, I knew his preferences. Lately, he didn't seem as busy and came to the apartment more frequently than before. Walking along with the cake, I thought he would probably come home today, but I didn't expect him to return so early. I had just taken out my key when the door opened. Timothy was wearing a dazzlingly white shirt, with a furry little animal in his arms. A puppy. I was so delighted I forgot what I was holding and immediately reached out to take the puppy. Is this yours? You never mentioned it before. Or is it a friend's? It's so cute. It's for you. Timothy closed the door. I froze for a moment. Mine, I instinctively asked. Can I? Really? Nathan never agreed to me keeping pets before. He said there would be fur all over the house and a strange smell. But Timothy said, why not? In my heart, it felt like a small firework had been set off with a pop. I could have my own puppy again. I brought you a small cake. I handed the cake to Timothy, then went to the sofa to play with the puppy. My first dog was a birthday gift from my parents. My brother had taken them to choose it. Back then, it seemed like I never knew what worries were. So much so that I always felt that when I saw a dog, all my troubles disappeared. Looking up, it seemed I wasn't the only one in a good mood. Timothy sat beside me, the corners of his lips slightly upturned, quietly eating the small cake bit by bit. Little sister, you've got cream on you. I stood up, about to grab a tissue when I suddenly realized, being too relaxed, I had used the wrong name. Little sister? Timothy's voice came closer, his breath also drawing near. Too close, the puppy gave a small yelp and ran off. I raised my eyes slightly, only to see an elegant face and feel the firm muscles under my hand. For a moment, all I could hear was my heartbeat. I tried to retreat a bit, but Timothy held the back of my head and kissed me, allowing no refusal. Grace, have you forgotten something? My heart was beating so fast it was about to explode, my face so hot my mind was getting fuzzy. But he kissed me again, this time very lightly, very gently, his voice low and husky. When shall we register our marriage? Today or tomorrow? I wasn't really clear about what was happening. Dazed from the kisses, I was still thinking that it was already evening, so we might as well wait until tomorrow. The next day, Timothy really took me to the city hall. According to him, the elderly mayor of Paris said a lot of words, and I just kept nodding. He waved his hand and issued our marriage certificate. I felt a bit nervous, but more than that, I felt a tiny excitement. Similar conditions understand each other. I always felt that Timothy wouldn't be a wrong choice. The only thing that made me a bit unhappy was that Nathan somehow found my phone number in Paris. He even called me from a French number. So you really did go to Paris. As soon as the call connected, he recognized my breathing. Grace, learn to throw tantrums, have you? It's been a month, haven't you had enough? I took a deep breath to suppress my emotions. Nathan, stop disturbing my life. Your life? What kind of life could you possibly have? Don't think I don't know you went to Paris to find that angel, right? A little sister who eats candy all day. You're going to burden someone like that. Have you no shame? I had never hidden anything from Nathan before, what I did or who my friends were. That has nothing to do with you. I'm your fucking husband. If it has nothing to do with me, who does it have to do with? I advise you to get back here immediately, otherwise. I hung up directly. He texted again, won't come back. Fine, aren't you capable? Go ahead and stick with that little sister for the rest of your life. I never thought Nathan could be such a vicious person. But on second thought, if he could cheat during our marriage and openly ask me for a fake divorce, what kind of good person could he be? I had been blinded by childhood sentiments, confused by the past. That evening, many friends messaged me. Most sent a screenshot of Nathan's social media post with a note. What's going on between you and Nathan? Nathan had posted an intimate photo with Sophia on social media, essentially publicly acknowledging his relationship with her. I didn't bother explaining so much and simply posted a photo of our divorce certificate. My college roommate group chat exploded. Holy shit, Grace, you finally woke up? I always thought something was off with that Chow guy. He never took you to meet his friends and never posted about you on social media. Exactly, and he was always bringing up Grace's selective mutism. Grace used to talk to us just fine, but as soon as he mentioned it, she'd really get too nervous to speak. Apparently, all the signs had been there from the beginning. A few days later, the group exploded again. Is he mentally ill or something? Nathan had sent each of them the same content. A photo of a diamond ring, a screenshot of his chat with Sophia. In 3 days, I'll give you a surprise. Are you free? And then a message to be passed on to me. Tell Grace Bridges that in 3 days, it's my mother's birthday celebration. If she doesn't return to the country, I'll give my mother a new daughter-in-law. I also thought he was mentally ill. Just ignore him. However, I was indeed going back to the country. That night when Timothy came home, he brought 2 suitcases. We're going back home for a bit. I was stunned, not understanding immediately. The marriage certificate needs to be notarized back home. He sorted through documents. and to introduce you to friends and family. I was about to ask instinctively, can I really? As my roommate said, Nathan never took me to public occasions. He was afraid I wouldn't be able to speak, afraid I would stutter, afraid I would embarrass him. Grace. Timothy suddenly stopped what he was doing, turned around, and cupped my face with one hand, his black pupils fixed on me. Grace Bridges, there's nothing you cannot do. A warm tingling spread from my heart to my entire body. So this is what a positive relationship feels like. Timothy mentioned he needed to take care of some business in Harbor City first. Coincidentally, I was also planning to meet with my lawyer. So our first stop, after returning home, was Harbor City. Completely different from the pouring rain when we left. When we got off the plane, the sun was shining brightly. Timothy was very low-key, wearing sunglasses the whole way, leading me through the VIP passage. By now, I certainly knew exactly who he was. 12 years ago, the power struggle within the Foster group had been front-page news for several months. No one expected that the eventual victor would be a young heir who hadn't even graduated from university. More surprising was that after taking over, Timothy Foster acted with a strong hand and unconventional strategies. In just 2 short years, he had doubled the already enormous size of the Foster group. I'd heard rumors about him too, but I was young then, and since he later stayed out of the domestic spotlight for many years, I hadn't remembered his name. Fortunately, we didn't encounter any reporters on this trip. Timothy and I arrived at the hotel without incident. He went to the company to work, while I rested at the hotel, going to the law firm after I woke up. Miss Bridges, your assets are being processed according to your instructions. Here are a few documents that need your additional signatures. Please review them. These are the original contracts for the properties that have been sold. You can take them. The processing of your personal assets is going smoothly, however. The lawyer looked somewhat troubled. Miss Bridges, you still have several properties that are marital assets co-owned with Mr. Chow. According to the divorce agreement, they should be divided equally. But Mr. Chow, he refuses to cooperate. He says you two, the lawyer cleared his throat, aren't divorced yet. I frowned. So, I nodded, I'm sorry, I'll talk to him. I took out my phone. After having my roommates block Nathan, he had registered various alternate accounts. Every day he tried to add me as a friend in different ways. I accepted one of them. Are you free tonight? Let's meet. Nathan didn't reply immediately. The typing indicator appeared for quite a while. Well, decided to come back to the country? Too bad. This young master is taking Sophia shopping tonight, not free. I looked at the message. I almost laughed from anger. His refusal to cooperate with the asset division wasn't without a solution. Applying to the court for forced execution would work, but since this trip back wasn't long, I had hoped to handle things simply. Seeing that I didn't reply, he sent another message. If you want to reconcile, there's still a chance. Come to my mother's birthday tomorrow and apologize. He attached a hotel location. How absurd. I blocked him again. Right then, Timothy also messaged me. I've sent you several formal outfits to choose from. Tomorrow, I'll introduce you to a few friends first. Meeting Timothy's friends, I felt somewhat nervous. I immediately put the unpleasantness from Nathan behind me, took a taxi back to the hotel. Timothy's several formal outfits were far more than just a few. Rows and rows of hangers, plus matching shoes, jewelry, and even makeup artists. The entire room was packed. Seeing how seriously he took this, I didn't dare be careless either. I spent almost the entire night trying things on and choosing. In the end, I selected an outfit that looked modest and low-key. Fortunately, Timothy hadn't come back. 10 years without returning to the country, this rare visit to the Harbor City branch office. The level of busyness was evident. The next day, I slept through half the day. By the time I woke up, it was already afternoon. Dressed and made up, Timothy's message arrived right on time. The driver is on his way to pick you up. In the car, a call came in from an unfamiliar number. Instinct told me it was Nathan again, so I hung up. He called again, I hung up again. Finally, I blocked that number too. Unexpectedly, when the driver stopped, I actually saw Nathan. He stood at the hotel entrance, continuously making phone calls. Finally, he angrily smashed his phone. I looked up at the hotel name and realized it was the same one Nathan had sent me yesterday. Timothy's call came in just in time. Have you arrived? Shall I come down to get you? His voice always calmed me down. I looked at the angry-faced Nathan. No need, I'll come up myself. Perhaps hearing my voice, Nathan also looked over. The expression on his face was hard to describe, like surprise, like wild joy, and mixed with suppressed fury. He kicked aside the shattered phone, red-eyed, Grace, but he only said one word. He pressed his lips together and turned away, let's go, then somewhat proudly said, I knew you'd come. With that, he turned and walked first. This hotel seemed to have been booked for a private event. I suddenly realized what kind of friends Timothy had meant. Seeing I hadn't followed, Nathan deliberately slowed his pace. Fine, I'll apologize first, okay? He lowered his voice. Isn't it just that you don't like Sophia? I won't see her anymore, okay? Are you really so petty? That little girl never offended you. I took a deep breath, trying hard to control my emotions. Upstairs, I saw several familiar faces. Hey, the wife's finally back. Still Nathan, who's got the touch, such a well-behaved girl, playing runaway canary, isn't that a joke? Nathan, with so many people here today, you brought her too? Aren't you afraid? Yeah, there are some real VIPs here today. Nathan glared at them. Get lost, all of you. You finally had the sense to clean yourself up and come. Pretty sensible. In a while, stick with me. No matter what happens, don't speak, just smile. Got it, come on. He reached out his hand, I'll hold your hand. I paused, somewhat incredulous. Nathan, I said coldly, I didn't come because of you. Nathan let out a laugh, stop pretending. At this point, who else could you have come for? If not for me, who else? The doors to the main hall opened. I immediately spotted Timothy. Though this wasn't his event, he sat in the main seat. To his left was Nathan's mother, and to his right was Nathan's elder brother who managed the company. Some people stood, some sat, some quietly drank, others conversed in low voices. Yet somehow they formed a semicircle with Timothy at its center. See that? The one in the middle, my mother went to great lengths to invite him. His wife should arrive soon too. You'd better behave. If you embarrass the Chow family, my mother and brother won't let you off. As Nathan spoke, he reached for my hand. I violently shook off his hand. Grace Bridges, his voice wasn't quiet, and quite a few people looked over. Timothy looked over too, his eyes darkening slightly. Nathan, what are you causing a scene for? Victoria Chow called. Though she called out to Nathan, her dissatisfied gaze was fixed on me. Nathan's brother frowned, glanced at me, then smiled and said to Timothy, Mrs. Foster should be arriving soon. Shall I go greet her? People around began to whisper. Nathan reprimanded me in a low voice. I told you not to make a scene, yet you insist. Satisfied now? This is your first time meeting so many Chow family relatives, and this is the impression you want to leave. Indeed. After 3 years of marriage, this was my first time meeting so many of the Chow family relatives. Grace, Timothy suddenly called out to me, come over here. He had left a space between himself and Victoria Chow. Nathan froze. Victoria Chow and Nathan's brother also froze. I walked over. Let me introduce someone, Timothy said. His voice wasn't loud, but it was enough for everyone present to hear. Grace Bridges. He gently kissed the back of my hand, then looked at everyone, my wife. The banquet hall fell completely silent. It was as if everyone had forgotten how to breathe. Only Timothy, having seen grand occasions before, remained composed. Grace, would you like to say something? All eyes focused on me. Cold sweat ran down my back. I pressed my fingernails into my palms, my heart pounding wave after wave. Timothy squeezed my hand, looked into my eyes, and gave a slight nod. There's nothing you cannot say. I took a deep breath. Mrs. Chow, I addressed Nathan's mother. I clenched my fists. Nathan and I have been divorced for some time. I don't know why he hasn't told you. Then I turned to Nathan. Nathan, I never thought marriage and divorce could be an act. Between us, there's no possibility anymore. Finally, to everyone present, I am now Timothy Foster's lawful wife. From now on, I have no connection to the Chow family. Nathan stared at Timothy's and my clasped hands, taking 2 steps back in disbelief. Timothy also stood up. He took the napkin from the table and methodically wiped my hand that Nathan had grabbed. My wife prefers quiet. I am protective. From today onwards, I don't want anyone in any way to harass my wife. Mrs. Chow, am I clear? Victoria Chow was stunned and nodded repeatedly. I apologize for the intrusion. Timothy put down the napkin and led me by the hand toward the exit. Only in the elevator did my heartbeat gradually return to normal. My feet felt weak, and I was about to fall when Timothy wrapped his arm around my waist, pressing me against the elevator wall. "You went to such great lengths," I whispered, catching my breath, "just to stop Nathan from seeking me out?" Timothy cupped my face. "You look beautiful today." I wasn't sure if he was complimenting my appearance or my words. He leaned in to kiss me. "Grace, Grace," Nathan's shout came from outside the elevator. Unfortunately, while talking, we hadn't pressed a floor button. The elevator was actually opened by him. Timothy pulled me into his arms, coldly turning back. "Is there a problem?" The elevator wall reflected my kiss-flushed face, and outside, Nathan's nearly desperate, stunned expression. I quickly pressed the button for the underground parking level. Before the elevator doors closed, Timothy mischievously held my chin and, in front of Nathan, kissed me even more forcefully. I heard that Nathan was confined by his family. They confiscated his phone, computer, and cut off all communication tools, demanding he swear never to cause me trouble again before they would release him. Timothy and I returned to the capital. Originally planning to notarize our marriage certificate, Timothy felt it was too troublesome and directly got a certificate from the local registry. I also met his friends and family, just as rumors said. He was the eldest son and grandson, but his mother died early, and his father died of a sudden cardiac arrest when he was 18. His uncles no longer stood a chance against him, and they were all very polite to me. His friends were all gentlemanly too. Only one, probably his best friend, teased him about late loss of virginity right to his face. "Wait, he's in his 30s and still a virgin? But we've been married for half a month now, and he indeed hasn't touched me. Is it that he doesn't know how? Or is he afraid I'll discover he doesn't know?" So that night when we went to bed, the atmosphere was somewhat awkward. One moment I wanted to get closer to him, the next I thought I should keep my distance. What if it's not that he doesn't know how, but that he doesn't? That can't be right. When he kisses me, I can feel it. Timothy is usually busy with work and not easy to approach. Perhaps this is normal. Even if it's not normal, we're already married, I wouldn't look down on him for it. "What are you thinking about?" Timothy suddenly turned over and pulled me into his arms. I quickly shook my head. He lowered his head and kissed my lips. He'd been kissing me more and more frequently lately, and for longer periods. "I just wanted to give you more time to accept me." The temperature under the covers gradually rose. In the darkness, Timothy's breathing became somewhat irregular, his voice growing husky. My heart pounded so hard that I couldn't make a sound, but I thought of the puppy sleeping at the foot of the bed, the light purple bedding in the room, and the garden full of tulips outside. All those years, every word I had said to him, he remembered. "I do like you, Timothy," I said softly. I tilted my head up to kiss him back. Timothy's body tensed, and he immediately took control. And naturally, the spring night was short, but we didn't sleep. But some things don't go as planned. Too many people attended that birthday party, resulting in some gossip. In the comment section of every interview video featuring Timothy, some ambiguous remarks appeared. Tusk, powerful CEO, looks glamorous on the surface, but behind the scenes is utterly heartless, even his wife. Above poster, is he married? What happened to his wife exactly? Staying low profile is the way to safety. Keywords, stolen bride. Timothy didn't mind this. The more such comments were banned, the more fierce they became. But I felt like I had a fishbone stuck in my throat. That day, Timothy was working overtime again. We had 3 days before returning to France. I was packing when I suddenly heard a commotion outside. That's right, my wife and I have been childhood sweethearts with over 20 years of feelings. How could it just end like that? Look at this photo. Yes, that's the one of Timothy Foster at the airport that was completely deleted the next day. Is my wife conscious? Timothy Foster had been pretending to be a little girl for 3 years, deceiving my wife he has a special fetish. He's a pervert, my ears rang. Blood rushed to my head. It was Nathan, of course. He had brought a group of live-streaming influencers to the front door of my home with Timothy. The Foster group is truly lawless. I ask all of you to be my witnesses today. I must see my wife. I grabbed the documents I had printed earlier and ran downstairs, completely forgetting that I had sent all the servants out to buy things. Only I was left at home. Also forgetting the secondary trauma caused by mass interviews after the car accident. Facing cameras, I couldn't speak a word. But when one wants to protect something, a person's strength can be so powerful. I walked straight to the main door and opened it. "Grace!" Nathan's face lit up with joy. Before he could say a third word, I stepped forward and slapped him hard. "Nathan Chow, look at yourself in the mirror. Who gave you the confidence to think I couldn't live without you?" Another slap. "And who gave you the audacity to defame others and spread rumors?" Another slap. I threw the printed chat records at him. "Take a good look, stop sullying the term childhood sweethearts." Finally, I tossed a recorder into his arms. It was playing the recording of that phone call he made to me the night I left. What redemption bullshit. I was sick of her all those years. If my mother hadn't forced me, I wouldn't have bothered. Marriage, you guess. Nathan's face turned ashen. He hurriedly pressed pause. But the trouble he caused wouldn't be so easily resolved. The live stream was forcibly terminated, and all clips were completely deleted. What circulated everywhere were the screenshots of Sophia's chats with Nathan that she had sent me years ago. People on the internet discussed the pair extensively, expressing shock. Soon, the usually low-profile Sophia was completely exposed. Someone even dug up that she lived in a mansion Nathan bought her and wore luxury items he purchased, pretending to be a rich young lady, hooking up with other wealthy young men. Timothy had always been a person who only talked business, never deliberately targeting the Chow family. After this incident, he cut off all cooperation between Foster Group and the Chow family. A few days later, Victoria Chow called me. "We failed to keep Nathan in check. I'm sorry, Grace, could you please consider after all these years?" "Mrs. Chow," I interrupted her. "It's true that your family took care of me for many years. But during those years, I also followed your instructions and handed over my parents' business to the Chow family. I never owed you anything." Timothy and I followed our original plan, prepared to return to France. On the day of departure, it was drizzling. As we went through security, suddenly there was a commotion. Nathan had appeared from somewhere, covered in mud and rain, in a wretched state. "Grace, Grace!" He grabbed my suitcase. The ground was too slippery, and he fell right in front of me. "Grace, please don't go." Timothy's face showed disgust, but he only glanced at his watch and gave a signal to someone nearby. People who had taken out phones to take photos and watch the drama were immediately cleared away. Nathan tightly gripped my suitcase. "Grace, listen to me. There have been too many misunderstandings between us. That phone call was Sophia calling you, not me. I didn't know about it. I was drunk and talking big. I never found you annoying. I married you because I really liked you." Those things I said to Sophia were a moment of confusion. It was. Right, she was the one with the skillful tactics. She seduced me. I wasn't really going to divorce you. Didn't I say I had a surprise for you? I was planning to propose to you again the next day. Grace, everything was a misunderstanding. That night, I also planned to go to the apartment to find you. But Chen Jiang, that idiot, insisted on having drinks with me. Yes, it's always everyone else's fault. I looked down at his tears. "The condoms were placed in your pocket by someone else. Someone else pushed you into bed. All those belittling, humiliating words about me were spoken from your mouth because you were possessed." I spoke such a long sentence without even a pause. "Nathan, you just thought I couldn't leave you. So you belittled, ignored, and despised me. Mocking me, suppressing me, that became the only way you could find a sense of existence in your failed life, didn't it?" The Chow family had 2 sons. The eldest took over all the family business. The second was frivolous and idle. It wasn't that he didn't want to work, he couldn't do it. In his life, the only thing worth bragging about was that he had once accompanied a girl, made her wholeheartedly depend on him, trust him. "Let go. Don't make our years of feelings end too ugly." Nathan's hand trembled violently. He let go. "Grace, give me one more chance, okay? This time I'll definitely." As he spoke, he tried to grab my hand. I quickly dodged. "That's disgusting." Nathan's words came to an abrupt halt. I pulled my suitcase and turned to leave. Timothy was waiting not far ahead. I took his arm. Suddenly, from behind came the sound of wailing. Many, many years later, I never saw Nathan again. Only occasionally heard about him and Sophia from my roommates. Sophia's scandal grew quite large. Several wealthy young men, including Nathan, sued her together. She was expelled from school without even getting her diploma. As for the final result of the lawsuit, no one knows. Nathan was driven out of the Chow family. Perhaps to please Timothy, or maybe Victoria Chow's business was struggling and she took it out on him. She canceled all his bank cards and took back all his properties, made him go out and find work on his own. It's said that the second young master, who once bought high-end custom pieces without blinking an eye, now had to carefully calculate his budget even to buy a bottle of wine. Some people said they saw him and Sophia fighting in the street. Two people in equally dire straits even if they fought until bloodied, no one paid attention. My work progressed very smoothly. The number of students grew from 1 to 2, then from 2 to 4. Soon I had a classroom of children. My language learning was quite successful too. Although the 15 tenses often made my head spin, at least I could manage daily conversations. For our first Chinese New Year in France, Timothy took me skiing. As we sped down from the Alps, I screamed loudly. At night, we lay in a valley hotel counting stars. Each star represented someone who had once loved us. Timothy, aren't you going to tell me the story of Angel yet? That very night, Timothy brought me back to our homeland, back to the capital, back to that old mansion that hadn't been opened for many years. There was a room there, filled with pink rabbits painted on the walls.